Hi all, welcome to another property, let's call it podcast, shall we, or webinar. And in tonight's session, I'm going to be talking to you about a challenge that I'm setting a few people called the 7-day property challenge, and more importantly, how you can get involved in it. If you wouldn't mind, just do me a small favor, just let me know that you can hear me nice and loud and clearly, please. That would be much appreciated. Just in the comments box, you've got a little questions box there, just put hi. And also, if you wouldn't mind, just give me a brief intro as to let me know who you are, where you're from, and more important, what's your experience? When we're talking about experience, tell me about, do you already own some property? Are you looking to get involved in property? And if you wouldn't mind, just tell me, do you understand anything about deal trading, deal sourcing, deal packaging? More importantly, why you're here this evening. So a couple of questions that I just want you to answer. And the more interactive you are in this session, the better the session will be. So I really urge you to interact. So if there's questions being raised, please feel free to answer them. And if there are any questions that you've got to ask, please put them into the comments box and I'll try and answer them as we go along. So let's get moving straight into it. So I want to thank you first. I always thank people when they come on these sessions because I appreciate that Sunday evening you could be doing lots of other things. You may be celebrating, you may be commiserating if you've been watching the football this afternoon, depending on which side of the fence you sit on. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me this evening. I appreciate lots of things that you could be doing, but you decided to spend some time and invest it within yourself, which is obviously a great thing to do. So a little bit about me. Who is Arsh? So first and foremost, I'm the founder of what I would like to think is now one of the industry leading platforms called the Property Investor app. And what I tried to do, I've tried to create the equivalent of like Rightmove for property investment deals. It's called the Property Investor app. If you're not already download it, please feel free to go to either the website, which is propertyinvestorapp.co.uk, or you could go to the App Store, type in Property Investor and download it from there. We've got hundreds of property deals all on the app, and I'm going to be teaching you the concept behind it this evening as well. I'm a property investor first and foremost. I always say that, so I'm one of these people that not only talk about it but also do it. I've got the best part of 1,100 tenants in my portfolio, and I'm also one of the UK's leading deal traders, sourcing over 500 properties year in, year out. And I write in multiple property publications across the UK. So I write in Your Property Network. I feature every month in the HMO magazine. I've wrote in Blue Bricks magazine, as well as appear on other publications such as Channel 4, Britain's Benefit Tenant, just to name a few. I'm also the best-selling author of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. Now, this is really important because, as the title suggests, property's never always been easy. I've seen some good times in the boom. I nearly went bust, and I had to claw myself back out to tell the tale. So there you go. So you can see that it's never always been easy. And those that say that it's relatively easy and straightforward and they've not had any blips really haven't been through the recessions and had to deal with some of the heartache that I've had to deal with. I'm also a property trainer. I've helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. And in the first lockdown, I released a podcast called The Property Rebel. It became a top 10 hit. And we release new episodes every Tuesday at 6 a.m. So feel free to go and listen to that. Now, I've got some pretty big plans. So for 2022, 2023, my aim is that, I've always hit roughly around 500 deals a year. So sometimes maybe within, circa 450 to 500. Last year, it's just over 500. Now, my plan for this year is to see if we can double that. Now, the reason why I say that is because for the last couple of years, if we've been hitting the best part 500, even though we've had the pandemic and everything, I think that we should be able to easily achieve 1,000 deals within a year. Now, if you break that down, that's approximately 20 deals a week, which is equivalent to 4 deals a day. Now, the reason why I mention that is because you're going to also assist with that when we kick off with the 7-day challenge. So I want to create the largest network of deal sources, property sources in the UK, and I want to become the equivalent of Rightmove for property investment opportunities. And as I said, I want to trade over 1,000 properties within the year and become the largest well-known deal trader within the UK. So I've got some pretty big goals. So my question to you is that what goals have you set yourself? They always say that your goals should kind of scare you. And by looking at this on screen now, I'd like to think that this is going to scare you too, and that this is great. You know, so I'm hoping that you will, if you can, in the comments box, just list your goals for this year. What did you say to yourself at the start of 2022 that you were going to accomplish in property this year, or not even in property, in overall, in general this year? And more importantly, we're pretty much halfway in of the year. How have you got on from here? So let's use this as almost like a mini checkpoint. What do you say that you're going to accomplish? Where are you in that process? And let's see, what we can do to kickstart that if you've not really done that as of yet. So we're going to be talking about deal sourcing, deal trading, deal packaging. Now, for those that don't know, they're pretty much all the same thing. It just depends on which person that you speak to. I prefer and like to go by the term of deal sourcing because it does exactly what it says on the tin. We source a property and we sell it. We source it, we package it, and we sell it. So source, package, sell. So we call it the kind of almost like the SPS system. Now, I'm going to be giving you some benefits as to why I prefer this strategy. I appreciate there's lots of property strategies out there in the property industry. So lots of people like doing deal sourcing, lots of people like doing rent to rent, lots of people like doing lease options, some people like doing development, some people like HMOs, some people like blocks of apartments, some people like service accommodation. There's so many different strategies, but the key thing for me is that all comes down to finding the deal in the first instance, because if you don't know how to find the deal, all the other things that we just mentioned are kind of irrelevant. So deal sourcing for me is a massive skill, and definitely a skill that you should have in your toolbox. But the benefits of deal sourcing is that you can decide when you see an opportunity, is it for you? Are you going to keep it for your own portfolio? If you don't keep it for if you decide that, let's just imagine that, I know that we've got, let's say that we've got Victor online. Now, Victor may be operating in London, but he may come across an opportunity, and let's say, I don't know, let's say Doncaster. And Victor might say, well, I like this opportunity, it looks really good, but it's just not right for me. Now, in that scenario, he has two options. He can either pass up the lead and say, sorry, I can't help you, Mr. Vendor, or I can't help you, Mr. Estate Agent, and lose out on that opportunity. Or alternatively, you could turn around and say to the agent or the vendor that he's dealing with, and say to him, okay, it may not be of interest for me, however, I can potentially also assist with this, and I might be able to find you an investor that takes this property on. And you've got to remember, from this point of view, you've got nothing to lose. And we're going to talk about why you've got nothing to lose in this instance. But for me, it's about monetizing every lead. Now, whenever I come across a lead, my biggest thing is that if I've already worked hard to generate this lead, I want to be able to monetize it. And I see lots of property investors all over the UK that work really hard at generating leads, and then they don't convert them. They don't monetize them, and therefore they're losing money, and more importantly, they're leaving money sitting on the table. And that's a big thing for me. Never leave it sitting on the table. If you've spent it by trying to attract it, you should then be definitely monetizing it. Does that kind of hit home with anyone? So let's go through some of the benefits as to why I love deal trading. First of all, with deal trading, because you don't own the property, you're not dealing with any tenants, which means that you're not dealing with maintenance calls. And because you don't own it and you're not buying it, there's no bank borrowings involved. And I call it the 100% hands-free investing strategy. I'm going to talk to you about it in a second. You're not tying up any money because you're not buying it, and therefore, technically, and I'm going to say this out as pretty much one of the plus points here, it's not going to cost you anything to get involved. When we talk about that, we're talking about in terms of marketing, etc. I'm going to show you how to create a deal sourcing funnel, literally just by sitting at home without having to visit the properties, without having to do any physical work. And all it's going to take is a bit of your time and also the ability to pick up the phone and speak to people. You can deal with any property in any town, city or country. It can be started and stopped when you require. It can be done anywhere around the world. All you need is a mobile phone and a laptop. And the reason why I say that is that I'm currently looking at some properties in Dubai. Now, I'm potentially looking at a property for myself, but equally, when I'm speaking to the people that I'm speaking to, and again, I'm doing it from the UK, so I'm not actually in Dubai. So as I speak right now, I'm currently speaking to 4 or 5 different people, 5 different opportunities, and the ones that I don't want myself, I'm going to package up and sell. So I'm going to be showing you also how easy it is to look at different opportunities anywhere in the world. And the best thing is, sourcing does not have to stop at property. The skill can be used to source almost anything. And let's face it, we all have the ability and the skill to source, because, you know, when you look at it from a point of view, whether you're looking to, when you go clothes shopping, you're sourcing some new garments. When we're looking at that, you don't just buy the first thing that you see. You look at lots of different options before you buy. Well, generally, that's the rule anyway. So let's get moving on. More importantly, the banes in our life, solicitors, surveyors, builders, contractors, you don't have to deal with any of them because you're not buying it, you're not project managing it, you're not dealing with any of that. You're literally facilitating the sale. And I've put this in for today's, and I think that this is really important point to hit home on. There's no risk attached. Now, how many strategies do you know that you can actually say that there's no risk attached to it? Because you don't own anything, so there's nothing that can go wrong. Now, let's look at it from a point of view that, has anyone tried to sell their house, you know, within their lifetime? Or have anyone tried to let a property, etc.? When an estate agent comes round, they cannot guarantee a sale of any property. When you're trying to put in a property into auction, they can't 100% guarantee that they're going to sell that property. When a letting agent comes round to your property, if you've bought one and you're looking to let it, they cannot guarantee that it's going to let. And the same principle applies to deal sources. Now, for those, and we'll go through what a concept of what a deal sourcer is in a second, we're pretty much working on the formula of almost like a no-win, no-fee basis. So if you don't sell that property, you don't generate a fee, which, you know, depending on how you look at it, is either a good thing or a bad thing, because it may make you motivated to go off and get the deal done, or you might be a little bit scared thinking, well, am I going to be able to sell the deal? And I'm going to be talking to you about how you don't need to worry about that later on as well. So I'll ask you a couple of questions, and in here on your screen now, I want to ask you a question: is what is a deal? Now, when we talk about what is a deal, because everyone has their own concept and has their own idea of what a deal is. So from your point of view, have a look at the list on screen now. What do you consider out of these to be a deal? Is it something, buying something below market value? Is it buying a property in need of renovation? Is it something that already has an income producing? So is it producing a good ROI? Is it something with a good potential of capital growth? Is it something that's sustainable? When we talk about sustainability, we're talking about from an income point of view. Is it going to be able to consistently let? Has it got a good cash flow opportunity? Has it got the ability to appreciate in capital? Has it got the opportunity to add value? Could you add value by refurbishing it? Could you add value by getting some planning on it? Could you utilize the opportunity to take control with little capital, or could you utilize someone else's asset in exchange of time? So out of all those there, ask yourself the question, which ones are these are potential possible deals? And the reason why I say that is because lots of people will only look at potentially 1 or 2 of those points. And the reason why I say that is because I fell into a trap many moons ago when I started out, when I said to myself, I'm only going to look at property deals that 25% below market value or above. So I wanted 25 to 30% below market value deals. Now, just imagine Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I go to their house is worth £100,000. I want to buy it for circa 70 to 75,000, but they've got a mortgage outstanding of £90,000 on it. Now, if I'm making an offer of 70 to 75, they clearly can't afford to sell me that property at night because they owe more on it than what I'm prepared to offer. So there's been lots of instances where I've had to walk away saying there's no deal to be done, and I close the door on that deal. And hopefully you guys are probably resonating with this and saying, you know what, I've been in that situation too. But if I had the mindset that I have now, back then, I would have closed so many more deals. So I could have looked at it from a point of view, okay, she can't afford to sell it to me for 70 to 75,000, which is what my initial desired outcome is. However, could I look at it from a different point of view? So you've got a mortgage of 90,000. Could we potentially convert this into almost like a lease option? Could we potentially convert this into almost like a assisted sale? And I'll give you examples of some of these that we've done. Could we have done it in a different manner? And so what I want to try and get over to you guys is that don't fall into the trap of becoming a one-trick pony. And lots of property investors all literally only look for one strategy, and it's wrong, especially when you're deal sourcing. You can't afford to just look for one strategy, because you're going to be spending, you know, a lot of people spend money on marketing, and when they're generating the lead, they're just walking away from that lead. I want people to be in a position where they can look at it, appraise it in its full entirety, and off the back of that, then say, okay, we can't help by doing this strategy. However, have we ever thought about doing it this way, doing it that way, doing it that way? I'll give you an example. So on Friday just gone, I had a vendor come to me, and he's got a 2-bedroom terrace property. I think it's in Grimsby, off memory. And he called me and he goes, Arsh, he goes, I've got this 2-bed terrace property. It's been on the market 3 months, £105,000. And I said, okay, fine. And we looked at it, and we looked at the reasons why we don't think it's selling. First of all, it's because when I looked at that street, and when I looked within a quarter of a mile of the vicinity, I also noticed that there's 12 of the properties of a similar type that were all a lot cheaper than his. At £105,000, he was one of the most expensive 2-bedroom terrace properties. So I asked him a little bit about his scenario. I asked him, why is he selling? Asked him, you know, he's done the property out to a good standard. He's probably done the property out to a better standard than all the rest, and that's why he's trying to command £105,000. But the average price for a property around in that location is circa 80 grand. So it's £25,000 in excess. And he goes, I can't afford to sell it for, you know, circa 80,000, because I've spent more on that after I bought it, after I've renovated it to a high standard. You know, if I walk away with 100,000, I'll probably just about be breaking even. So he hadn't done his calculations on it correctly. So now what we looked at is that now that I know it owes him approximately 100,000, and the property, in essence, depending on how you look at it, is probably in negative equity. We structured a deal on Friday, and with the way that we left it, that he was going to speak to his wife over the weekend, and we're going to touch base with him tomorrow, is that he can't afford to sell it to us for anything less than really £100,000. And so what I've suggested to him is that if he's prepared to pay the longer term game, that we can potentially, instead of trying to purchase the property below market value, we can structure this as almost like as a lease option, but we would need circa a 5-year term on it. In the interim, he's going to be generating an income from the property, but we're also going to attach the option to purchase at the 100 or 105,000 pound which he requires. Now, why would we do that? Why would we offer him 100,000 pounds on a property which is pretty much full market value, perhaps in excess of market value? And the reality is, because if you go back to my list, it's because what we're doing is we're buying ourselves time, and we're actually buying ourselves income. When we're talking about buying ourselves income, we're potentially taking control of a property with little capital. So what we've agreed with this vendor is that if this deal is to be done, the rent that he's going to get is circa around £400 to £500 a month. The market rent for property in that location is going to be within the region around £500 to £600 a month. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot. However, there is a massive opportunity for this property to potentially be converted into a mini serviced accommodation unit. And when we've looked at the calculations, that it is in a good location, the average rent, or the average, let's say, nightly rate is between £70 to £80. When you do some calculations based on those figures, you should be able to net around, after all costs, taking into consideration a low occupancy rate of around between £300 to £400 a month. Now, if you calculate that, £400 a month over a 12-month period is circa 4,800, which, let's round it up to £5,000. Now, over a 5-year period, 5,000 times 5 years is going to generate around £25,000. Now, I appreciate these are all round numbers, lots to take into consideration, but £25,000 based on a £100,000 purchase, that has already generated its own 25% deposit, which means that when you come to purchase it in 5 years' time, you'd like to think that, first of all, that property is going to increase in value. So it will be in excess of the £100,000, which means that then you'll be buying it below market value, but also the property's generated sufficient income in order for you to be able to fund that transaction. So you want to try and get it so that it funds that 25% deposit. If you can get it to generate the deposit plus the stamp duty plus the legal costs, you're in a massive win-win scenario. But the key thing here, take control of someone else's property with little capital. So, if you were to go and buy that property at £100,000, you would need approximately £30,000 to get involved. Here, which negotiating with the owner, where you're going to have to pay 1 month's rent up front and 1 month as a deposit. So if the rent is set at £400, let's say, to get involved in that property, all you need is £800. So let's compare £800 compared to 30,000. Which one makes the better sense? So when we look at it from that point of view, go back to my slide, don't be a one-trick pony, because if I worked on the basis that he can't afford to sell that property for anything less than £100,000, and I'm offering him circa 75,000, that deal would have been done, dusted, dead. Whereas if you understand the reasoning behind someone's wanting the reason for them to sell, understand last week I spoke about two main keywords, pain and motivation. Understanding why they're looking to sell, understanding the reason, understanding, the proposals, you can then put together your proposal and the reason why you're putting together that proposal and create a real win-win scenario. So I suppose my question to you guys now, ask yourself that question. How many of you would have done that deal that we've just proposed? Give me a quick yes or no, please. That'd be great. So let's get moving on. Now, as we said, with deal trading, there's no risk attached to it. So you're going to be generating, or you're going to be coming across lots of opportunities. And the thing for me is that I get to see all the best deals first. When we say that, we look at it from a point of view, and I'll give you an example. I've got a block. So I got approached by a developer. I think some of you, I've talked about this on quite a few of my podcasts and YouTube videos, is that I come across a developer, and he's actually a friend of mine. And he came to me, he goes, Arsh, I've got this block of apartments, I've just built them, not sure what to do with them. Should I just rent them or should I sell them? And we started talking about the option. And I said to him, well, okay, I looked at the location. It's right in the middle of Nottingham city centre. So he's got a block of 7 apartments in there. There's 4 2-beds and 3 1-beds, if I've got that correct. So I did a deal with him. I said to him, well, if you're not 100% sure whether you want to sell them, why don't you lease them to me on a 3-year deal where I don't pay you a deposit. I'm going to get a small rent-free period where it allows me to go and furnish the properties, bring the property up to lettable, standard, etc. And I then convert these and run these as serviced accommodation. Now, I've now taken these on a 3-year lease. And based on my calculations, I worked on a very low calculation of £130 a night. I could actually show you bookings right now. On the weekends, we're charging circa between £250 to £300 a night. And during the week, we're charging £140 to £150 a night. And this is because they are brand new. They are right smack bang in the centre. And these properties are generating a really high cash flow. So the rent that I'm paying to the landlord, don't mind saying, is £6,000 a month. So it's quite high outgoing. So you've got to be comfortable with what you're offering. So we offered him 6,000. Off the back of that, I worked off my calculations that even I put in very high contingency, worst case scenario costings. You can see I put in 20% management costs. I put in really high fees for turnarounds and cleaning, etc. I put in really high contingency costs, and even then it still generates around £24,000 per annum, and that's based on 50% occupancy. Now I can show you that the rates that we're generating are way in excess of that, and our bookings are way in excess of that, and our fees are a lot less than that. So I've been very pessimistic, but if I worked on the pessimistic, hopefully the figures are really, much better than what we calculated. Now we increase the rate, and the break even actually comes down to 40%, and the cash flow increases significantly. So you can see the properties here. He's done them out to a really good standard, to be fair, and that's why we generate a really high, where we can command a really high nightly rate on them. And given the location, we're right next to Nottingham City Castle. So we get lots of people that go and visit the castle. We get lots of people that go there for nights out. So it works really well for us. So again, scenario, look at all the different scenarios, understand the pain, understand the motivation, understand the reason why, and put together a proposal. He wanted to sell. I put him an offer where I could lease them, and we did that deal. Now, I've spoken about this deal quite a lot recently, and the reason why I say that is because these don't come along very often, but when they do, they are absolutely beautiful. So here's a deal where I agreed a deal with the owner at £300,000, which I would consider to be the market value. Now, I said to the owner that in order for me to make any money out of this deal, I need to pretty much take control of the property, and I need to get some planning permission in place to extend the property. And as a result of that, that's going to increase the value of the property. We did a deal where we said that if I go off and do this at my own cost, where I'm going to have to spend money on architects, I'm going to have to spend money on planning fees, etc., and it's going to take a bit of my time, I'm going to agree a deal that anything in excess of the £300,000 is then going to be deemed as our commission. And so we've got all documentation, it's all done legally, it's all done all above board, and everything was all signed. So they said, yes, fine. So we got planning permission. It took approximately 8 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks. And then I spoke to an agent friend of mine who said that, I've got someone looking to buy a property similar to this in this location. They came and valued it at approximately 435,000. We didn't even get to put it on the market, and we got a deal agreed at 415. Total money spent was £500. That was for listing, getting the planning permission in place. All the other fees were paid on the back end. And I actually got to walk away from this deal with £103,000. And all I did is I inserted my creativity, I inserted my ability to add value. The vendor still got what they wanted. I got what we wanted, and everyone won. Now, just so if I showed you, I could show you multiple deals where we make 6 figures on a property. Now, I appreciate these don't come along very often, but I could show you lots of deals where you make circa 10, maybe 15, even £20,000, and these are quite regular. So you've got to look at it from a point of view. Are you going to just source the deal and just charge your sourcing fee? Or are you going to try and add value and potentially take something in the middle? So you can't do both because that's very greedy. So I would suggest that you do one or the other. And the only way you can do that is by appraising it. And the only way you can do that is by not becoming a one-trick pony. So what would you do? Would you work for the larger gain, or would you prefer to work on volume and just take sourcing fees and move out the middle so you're not spending any money on any of the properties? Feel free to put that in the comments box, and I'll quickly go through these in a second. Now, it sounds all too easy, and the reason why I say that is because I've been doing this 22 years. I've been sourcing, I've been trading properties for 22 years. So for me, this is second nature. Second nature, and this kind of stuff rolls off my tongue. So when I speak to a vendor, becoming creative with it is almost like second nature. I can look and say, okay, yes, we can do this, but we can't do that, or we could do this and we can't do that. So I'm going to talk to you about a young gentleman called Craig Webb. So Craig approached me in October last year, so October 21, and he's managed to do 20 deals within 2 months, but that wasn't always the case. So Craig approached me in October. He said, Arsh, he goes, I've been on a training with this other company. And he goes, it's just not working for me. It's not working for me. I don't know what I'm saying, or what I'm saying is correct. I don't know whether what I'm doing is correct, but whatever I'm doing, it's not clicking. So I said to Craig, jump on an hour call with me, which is a chargeable service, which I do. And then off the back of that, I instantly knew what Craig was doing wrong. Now, when I say that, is because Craig was pretty much jumping down their throats and saying, I can do this, 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 and this, without actually understanding the pain and the motivation of the vendor. And as a result of that, I managed to kind of tailor his offering. And as a result, he has now become a deal machine. You know, within 2 months, he's done 20 deals. So, you know, if we look at some of the deals that he's done deals in Worksop, he's done deals in Luton, he's done other deals in Hull. We've got Walsall, Burnley, Boston. And the reason why I say that is because all of them are done with the comfort of his own home. So he was spending time traveling to these different locations, and it was costing him money in fuel. It was costing him time because he was a window cleaner. He owned a window cleaning business, so he was taking time off from that. So he's now, and I said to him that you're working too hard, and even though you're working too hard, you're still not benefiting or reaping the rewards from the time and effort that you're putting in. Remember, it's all about ROCE, return on capital employed, return on time employed, whatever you want to do. Your time is worth money. Your money is worth money. It's about how hard are you working to generate that. So I then introduced Craig to what was the 7-day property challenge. And I said to him, how many deals can you do within 7 days? And I'm going to apply the same principle to you guys on the session here. So new for June 22. Now, just so you know, Craig did not have the benefit of this because I kind of threw Craig in at the deep end. I said, Craig, here's what you're going to do. Here's some agents for me to call them, and we'll go through that. So new for June 22. I'm actually creating. I've got a program called the Elite Property Tribe. So it starts in June. June the 7th, I think. I'll go through the details in a second. And I am now going to start providing anyone in the Elite Property Tribe with live leads of deals to prepare and get ready and sell, which that in essence previously deal sources would have had to go off and try and generate their own leads. Then they would have to appraise them, package them, and then try and sell them to their investors. Now I'm cutting out all that process because being the owner of the Property Investor app, I've got investors ready to buy deals. All I need now is, if I'm providing people with leads, you to be able to speak to the leads and say to them and understand it. So understand the different strategies, understand which way we can do these deals, and off the back of that, structure it, and then let's get these sold. It simply requires you to make a call, find out some key information, and my team will then package the deal and sell it to my investors. And new leads will be released weekly, and it can happen all over the UK. So now what I'm actually saying is that, in essence, all I need is someone to make some calls. I'll provide you with the leads, I'll provide you with names, phone numbers, and even the properties that you need to inquire about. And off the back of that, you make the calls. It really is as simple as that. Now, within the Elite Property Tribe, we're also going to be showing you the research property hotspots, find the highest yields and growth areas throughout the UK, and so that you can narrow down your research and narrow it down so that you're not spending a load of time looking at areas that don't work, and you can find deals pretty much instantly. So when I say find deals instantly, I'm actually providing you with the leads so that you're not even having to do that research yourself. And what we're going to be looking at is all the different strategies. So we're going to be looking at the BMV strategy, the below market value strategy. We're going to be looking at the rent-to-rent strategy. We're going to be looking at the service accommodation strategy. We're going to be looking at the purchase lease option strategy. We're going to be looking at the buy, refurbish, and refinance strategy. We're looking at the buy to sell. We're going to be looking at the apartment strategy. We're going to be looking at cash flow strategies. We're going to be looking at equity strategies. And how we're going to achieve this is that we're going to be looking at avenues where we can be working with agents, we're going to be working with vendors, and we're going to be working with other sources. And on this slide alone, you can see how many different avenues there are to generate leads. As a result of that, you should never be in a position where you're not being able to find enough deals. And again, going back to my point about what is a deal, we're going to be looking at properties. Can we find a below market value angle in there? Can we find if it's in need of renovation? So can we add value? Can we turn it into a rent-to-rent? Can we turn it into a lease option? And these are the things that we're going to be looking at. Now, as I said, I start the Elite Property Tribe with a program called the 7-Day Property Challenge, and it starts the first Monday in June. So it's the Monday the 6th of June. So we've got a week away. The first training is on Monday, on 7 p.m. on Monday the 6th of June. And then, so on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they're going to be webinars, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. And within those webinars, we're going to be going through all the different strategies, where we find the deals, how we find the deals, how we negotiate the deals. And then on Friday, I actually run a day where I'm asking everyone to come to the center of the earth, which is Wolverhampton, and in a hotel conference room, we'll be getting everyone, and I'm going to get you all on the phones that day. And the aim is to get you guys a deal within that first week. Now, that's a big claim. I appreciate it's a big claim, but it has been done and it works really well. We get everyone in the room. So within the Elite Property Tribe, as a group, I've been running the Elite Property Tribe over 6 years. We've got nearly 200 members. So within that group, on the day on the phones, we'll have approximately between 50 and 60 members in the room, and I'll team you up with other EPT members. Off the back of that, you'll then be getting people to call, agents to call, other people to contact. Off the back of that, we're going to get deals done. Now, I'd like everyone involved in the challenge to be able to negotiate one successful deal. My question to you is, are you in? So if I'm giving you the leads, I'm giving you the potential to work with other EPT members, I'm giving you the opportunity, showing you how to do it, and all you've got to do is make some calls. I want you to be with me for the 7-day challenge, but also the Elite Property Tribe. And within that day, we're going to be a day looking for deals, a day speaking with vendors and agents, a day praising deals, a day calculating the return on investment and yields, a day looking at the hotspots and looking at supply and demand, working with groups with other EPT members, and it's actually only available only to EPT members. So again, we start the 7-day challenge on Monday the 6th. We do the final Friday, the 10th of June, but we have got the Elite Property Tribe. And what the Elite Property Tribe, again, you can see there, we've got the webinars on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is a live event. If you can't make it to Wolverhampton for whatever reason, you can still live stream it. It is obviously a much better experience if you're in the room, because I want you to be teaming up with other people, but you can live stream it as well. Now, here's a couple of people in the Elite Property Tribe. So we've got Kevin on the left-hand side. Now, Kevin has done his first deal where he completed on a block of flats, which was 6 flats, fully tenanted, income producing, and he actually sourced these via an estate agent on Rightmove. Now, Kevin had to generate his own leads because this was before the June 2022 program. Took him approximately 2 hours to source, analyze, and get exclusivity and package. And he sold the deal within 5 days to my database, and we charge a 4K fee. No viewings were done by Kevin, all done remotely and all around his current job. Now, we've probably seen this guy a couple of times. It's a guy called Tamor. He's based in Wolverhampton, and he's actually a deal machine. So he also runs a signage company. So property is not his full-time job. He also has a very busy business in creating signage for other businesses. So he came to me and says, I want to generate a side income. And off the back of that, I taught him how to deal source, and he did 6 deals very quickly. So he had a 6-bed HMO in Hull. He found that on Rightmove. He charged a 4K fee for that. Now, and then here's another guy. Now, what I'm trying to put in front of you here is a real mixture of people who have gone off and deal sourced and have already got other obstacles in their way. When we talk about obstacles, Rahil, that you see on screen now, is actually based in Saudi Arabia. So he's actually sourcing from Saudi Arabia. So he's actually calling people from Saudi Arabia. So you got to remember, English is not his first language. He's got a conflict because there's a difference in time zones. He's already working 12 hours as an engineer. He sources on average 3 to 4 deals a month, and the average fee is around £3,000. So my question to you is that it's all done whilst in a different country and a different time zone. So my question is, what is stopping you? And all the obstacles that you think are against you, believe it or not, are all mini obstacles in your mind. These can be done because other people are doing it with much larger obstacles than you. Again, going back to the point, no need to be a one-trick pony. Deals at 2022, I can talk to you about deals day in, day out that we talk about deals. Now, I'll put this up in front of you, and just as statistics to show you how many deals actually are in the UK right now. And this is only one platform. So on Rightmove, which every property investor probably looks at, we can see that there's 53,000 estate agents in the UK, and there's over 800,000 properties for sale on Rightmove, and this is just one platform. So you can see the opportunity. Even if you worked on a 1% of generating 1% of that market share, 800,000, you're looking at 8,000 deals. And that's, you got to remember how many properties come along on the market every year. So it's a rotating level of stock. Now, people come to me and say, Arsh, estate agents, I try calling them, they don't want to work with me. And going back to my example of Craig, is no different, because Craig was speaking to estate agents, he was speaking to letting agents, and they kept saying, sorry, Craig, we're not going to work with you because we don't really understand what you're offering. Now, here's a kind of level of, and I get emails like this almost like every month, where I'm speaking to agents, and agents come to me and say, Arsh, I've got some HMOs on our books that we can't sell. I'm not sure why, because they're good investments, but guaranteed tenants from the uni every year. He goes, the vendors indicated that we'll take 250 potentially if they're both sold. If not, then we need to be 260 for one of them. And then I've crossed out all these details, but this is the kind of email that I get pretty much on a regular basis. And this is because I'm building a lot of time and building rapport with the agents. Now, why do they want to work with me? And it's very simple, because I help them sell their properties and I make it easy work for them. They still make exactly the same commission by working with me, because they charge their money, they make their money from the seller, and the deal sourcer makes their money from the buyer. So everyone wins. So agent makes their money from the seller, sourcer makes their money from the buyer, and it gives them another avenue to market their property. So if they're just sticking their properties on Rightmove right now, chances are that property investors, they're waiting on a property investor to try and find it, whereas with a deal sourcer, we're actually shoving it under the nose of a property investor by utilizing tools like the Property Investor app. And I simply make money from a property that I simply control, and it's a win-win all round. The vendor wins because they've sold a property. The agent wins because they've made a commission from the sale of a property. The deal sourcer wins because they've not had to work very hard to generate a lead, and they've made money from a property without really any marketing. And the buyer wins because they've bought a property that they would not have known about without your help. So can everyone see the benefits there? And you got to remember, we just mentioned one portal there, Rightmove. Not even mentioned other platforms like Zoopla, On the Market, Spare Room, OpenRent, Gumtree, eBay, and that's just some of them. And I keep going back to this point about the one-trick pony, because it's really important, because no two transactions will be the same. No two communications will be the same. No two negotiations will be the same. I'll put at the bottom there, the most strategic will be the most successful. So the ones that really understand the strategies, the ones that really understand how to negotiate the different methods, and also talk to the vendor and understand their reasons behind the sale and the motivation and the pain, will be the most successful. So if you have a look at the deals that we put out this week, it's been a combination of below market value deals, full market value deals, rent to rent deals, lease option deals, and some of these deals have been negotiated where they're direct to vendor. I spoke to you about that 2-bedroom terraced house. Some of the deals have come direct from agents, and some of them also have come as a result of co-sourcing with other sources as well. So here's some of the other deals. I'll talk to you about lots of other deals. Now, within the Elite Property Tribe, what I've done is I've created a community of, let's call you really energetic and excited property sources who really want to go off and make a difference and generate fees from properties with very little work. When we say little work, I'm now generating the leads for you. And we're seeing a real success in property sources. We're seeing because there's a real hand-holding experience in the Elite Property Tribe. So I'm providing you with the deals. I'm then asking you to provide me with feedback from the leads, the conversations. We're having a real conversation as to how did you get on? What did they say? What did they not say? How can we communicate differently with them? How can we structure the deal differently with them? And that's how we're doing deals. So if you want to see some of the other deals that we've got over 200, I think it's nearly 300 properties on the Property Investor app. And these have all been sourced by myself and other EPT members. So you can go to propertyinvestor.co.uk or go and download the app on the App Store. So what the Elite Property Tribe is, it's a 52 module of online training. So I've created a whole platform of modules where we've got teaching you how to source all the different strategies that we've looked at and we've talked about this evening. So deal trading, rent to rent, lease options, HMO, service accommodation, commercial to residential developments. And what the 52 modules of online training does is teaches you how to look at every different strategy and how to monetize every lead. Now, within the Elite Property Tribe, so yes, there is 52 modules of training. We also have fortnightly live deal clinics. So every other Monday at 7 p.m, we do a live deal clinic. Now, this is the opportunity for the deal sources to bring the deals across and say, Arsh, I've come across this, not sure how to package it, or can you see an angle here? And we look at all the different angles for that deal, as well as all the other EPT members coming together and going through that. Now, with the Elite Property Tribe, I'm quite generous with my time. So you have a daily, you have the potential to book a daily 10-minute call with me. So if you come across an opportunity and you say, oh, Arsh, I'm speaking to this vendor, but I need a little bit of help, I jump on the call with you and we can negotiate that deal together. You also have the opportunity to book a day in the office with me. Now, what a day in the office is similar to what Craig did. You have the ability to come and spend the day with me. You'll sit opposite me. I get to listen to your calls. So it's not a day of mentoring, so to speak. I'm listening to your calls whilst you're speaking to agents and vendors, and I then tailor what you're saying to them. I understand what you're saying, what's going well, what's not going so well, what needs improvement, how we can tweak it slightly so we turn those maybes into yeses. And the aim, again, is to turn you into that deal machine. So there are 4 virtual meets throughout the year. The first one being on Friday, the 10th of June, 2022. In the platform, we also have over 400 hours of previous webinars and recordings. And as well as that, as an EPT member, you get to sell your deals via my investor database, via the Property Investor app, where we do a JV on a 50-50 split fee basis. You get access to all my useful contacts, and you also have the EPT WhatsApp group. And what I've done there is I've created a real community of property investors that are all driving towards the same goal. So have a quick look here on screen, a mini video of all the kind of modules that we've got in there. I appreciate it's going quite quickly, just so you can see what kind of modules we're looking at. So we're looking at sourcing there, finding deals, we're looking at how to use planning registers, we're looking at how to use HMO registers, we're looking at different types of HMOs, we're looking at commercial values, we're looking at the tenant types, we're looking at the rent-to-rent calculators, how to structure these as lease options, the paperwork surrounding lease options, service accommodation, crowdfunding if you're looking to buy them yourselves, and also exit strategies. So we start, the first webinar is on Monday the 6th of June. We are closing so once we've got all the registrations in, we are closing it, I'd like to think early part of this week. So we start on Monday 6th. It's a day of, on the Friday the 10th, we get everyone into Wolverhampton, where we do a day looking for deals, a day looking for vendors and agents, a day appraising deals, calculating the deals, looking for hotspots, and working with other EPT members. And again, that is on Friday the 10th of June. So you've got to try and make sure that you're available for that in order to do the full program. Now, as I said, the shadowing day is almost like a training day, and this is where lots of people become a yes machine. So Jay Uday is the person in the top right hand corner. He had no property experience, he had no money to invest. He was one of the newest EPT members, and he was a full-time teacher. And within one day, the aim is to get you deals. But in actual fact, within that one day, we got him 2 deals, 2 HMOs, sourced, packaged, sold, and generated 10 grand in sourcing fees. So again, that's what Friday the 10th of June looks like. So part of the EPT is also not only just understanding about the strategies, but also having the network of people with you as well. So you get to utilize my network of, let's call my power team. So you've got my network of professionals, so you get access to my solicitors, accountants, brokers, and tax advisors. You get access and support. So like I said, you're going to have daily call sessions if you need them to discuss with me. You can have all my contracts, templates, and spreadsheets. And you can sell to my database within the Property Investor app. You don't have to make the mistakes because I'm already generating the leads for you. And you have fortnightly webinars with me Mondays between 7 and 9 p.m. So big thing for me is about accountability. I need you guys to be accountable so that when I'm providing you with leads, you then come back to me and said, Arsh, I've spoke to this company, I've spoke to this person, this is what they've said. And so I'm going to be asking you, did you ask this question? Did you do this? Did you do that? So there's going to be a level of accountability, and you're going to have to be able to say, Arsh, okay, yes, I've done this, I'm not done that. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? So again, I'll always be your side. You can book those daily 10-minute calls with me. There's no other trainer out there that I know that will give you their personal mobile number so that you contact them almost like on a daily basis. So we've got fortnightly live deal clinics. You have my personal mobile number. We're in a private WhatsApp group, which is the Elite Property Tribe WhatsApp group. We've got the EPT Learning Journal, and you've got the platform with over 400 hours worth of recordings on there. So this is the learning journal. So within the learning journal, I ask people to fill in the journal weekly, just so that I can see what they've been doing, who they've been contacting, how the conversations have gone, what you found hard, what you found easy, and what you think the methods for improvement. So I'm going to put this out there. Let me just have a quick look. Someone says, can I put the links in the box? Bear with me. So I'll just quickly mention this. So to join the Elite Property Tribe, now I'm one of the very few people that is very generous with this. So the cost of the course, the full cost of the course is £6,000. However, I never asked for that. I only asked you to pay half of that, whether that be in one payment or over a 12 monthly installment payment. And the reason why I say that is because you pay 3,000 up front, or you pay it in installments, and then the other payment of 3,000 only due if and when you do deals. So if you don't do any deals, which is very rare, you don't pay the extra 3,000. And the reason why I say that is because my motivation is to get you to do deals, and that is almost my way of saying that I believe in you to do those deals, because if you don't do those deals, I don't get that other £3,000. But I want you to do deals because I want you to be out there pushing deals so that we sell them together. So with the 12 monthly plan, so the cost, obviously you pay the 3,000 up front in one payment, or you pay over a 12 monthly payment. And it is a little bit more expensive if you pay monthly because it's £350 a month. But the balance is only when you have succeeded and when you've done deals. And when you pay monthly, the modules are drip fed every four modules, drip fed immediately, and then drip fed every week. So going back to my point, don't panic. If you think you can't find deals, don't panic, because there's never going to be a shortage of deals. I'll be providing leads of deals to you every week. So you've got the leads, you've got the support, you've got the people telling you what to do, how to say it, how to package it, how to appraise it, and then all we've got to do is sell it. But believe it or not, we'll sell it via my platform anyway. So we're doing all of the work. All I need is a bit of time from you to make some calls, and then my team will package it, sell it to my investors, and all leads will be released weekly. So someone said, can you put the links on the sheet? So bear with me a second. Oh, what have I just done with that? So in the chat, I'm going to just quickly put the links there. That's in the chat. In the meanwhile, I've got a load of questions that people have asked. If you've got a question, ask there. So, hi, are the overseas investors in your group? Is the power team used to work with them? Is your power team used to work with them? So, hi, are the overseas investors in your group? Yes, we do have overseas investors in the group. So we have, we've talked about Raheel, we've talked about some people that we had in China, we had some people in Taiwan, we've got some people from Australia. So it's a real mixed bag. So yes, we do. So how much do I get per deal? Do I get any ongoing or recurring from the deal? So just so that when you say, so Robbie, when you talk about ongoing recurring from the deal, what does that mean? So when we sell the deal, it works on a 50-50 split fee basis. So if we charge 3,000 for that deal, it works on a 50-50 split fee basis. Okay, so Sad, I've just joined and missed a bit of the webinars. It's been recorded. I'll possibly try and get you the recording on this, Sad, if that's okay. So Jerby says, okay, I'll be there. I would put the deal sourcing income towards lease option deals for a long-term portfolio. So the good thing, Jerby, is that obviously when you're deal sourcing, going back to one of the first points I put out there, is that you can source and a deal, and you might turn around and say, you know what, to be fair, I want to keep this one. This is for me. This is for my own portfolio. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to talk to you just on that point. So Ashley Walker on the left-hand side there, he's actually sourced deals, and now he's building up his own portfolio from the properties that he's sourcing. There's nothing wrong with that. He's actually built up a portfolio by utilizing some of my power team there. He's actually built a portfolio with none of his own money. So he's got investors by understanding some of the strategies that I use. He's also utilized my power team, so it works really well. Bav has done rent-to-rent deals. Now Lenka has done property deals all over the UK. Ale has actually built a whole portfolio of rent-to-rent properties and not sold any of them. He decided to keep all of them. So there's nothing stopping you from keeping the deals if you want to build your own portfolio. We've got Adam, who's probably one of the most successful EPT members that I've ever had. He sourced over 50 properties. We've got Amanda, who's done multiple deals as well. And as part of the EPT member, you can leverage the name of the Property Investor app to negotiate deals with vendors and agents. And you can become the go-to person in the area. So someone said, can you just put up there what we're going to get again? Okay, so that's fine. So Justin says, so do we pay to be part of the elite, the tribe, but then also split the fee 50-50? Yes, that's correct, Justin. So Anne says, hi, do you have a team working with you? Yes, I've got a full team working with me, Anne. So what would you like to know? Can you pay the initial 3K by credit card? Yes, you can, Sarju. So if you have a look on the links that I put in there, so if you pay where it says to join with one payment, so let me just quickly, if you click on that link where it says join by one payment, it'll take you to a page that looks a little bit like this, and you can click and you put in your details there and you can complete your purchase. So hopefully that helps. Arsh, if I was to find my own deals and not be part of the EPT, would you be open to co-sourcing until I have enough money to become part of you guys? David, if you want, you're more than welcome to give me a call. I'll put my details up at the end of this presentation and you can give me a call on that. And could you tell me, how does your team look like? Thanks. So, okay, so in my team, and I've got obviously solicitors, I've got tax advisors, I've got accountants, I've got architects. It just depends, what are you looking for? What do you want them to do? Tell me what strategy you're looking to employ. I've got lease option specialist listers, I've got rent-to-rent specialist listers. You tell me what you're looking to do. I've got finance specialists. I've got people that create finance, are very creative in finance specialists. So tell me what you're looking to achieve, and I'll tell you if I've got the people in the team to do that. Right, okay. So Victor says, I want to build a portfolio by not using my own money. That's very doable. Again, part of it is understanding, different strategies. Okay, so Joby says raising capital has been on my mind and working to find better options. So if you're sourcing, you don't need to raise capital because you're going to be selling the deal on to other investors. If you're going to find it a deal and then you're going to try and find capital for it, then yes, obviously there are, and in there is JV finance. We've got modules on JV finance and how to raise capital. So there are modules for that. Okay, so for the day in the office, is that possible joining on the, for the day in the office, is that available joining on the EPT? So yes, Jebby, so part of the EPT is that you spend the day in the office with me, so you book it, so we'll make sure that our diaries don't clash, we'll make sure that you book it in advance so that I can organise my diary, and then yes, we arrange that. Jebby says if I don't join, so sorry, someone's just said if I don't join the EPT, I want to do a day in the office. The day in the office alone is £2,000 plus VAT, so that's £2,400. So if you wanted to come spend the day in the office, more than welcome to do that, but it is £2,000 plus VAT, and that is the day. So Anne says, what is the success rate of your members reaching their targets? How many interrupts during the year? So it all depends on, and this is a great question because all depends, because I'll be honest, I don't get to see every deal that every member generates, because let's face it, if I was to go back to this guy here, Ale, he's sourced properties for his own portfolio. Now, just to give you an example, Adam has sourced properties for his portfolio. I've not seen them come onto the Property Investor app because they're for his own portfolio. Ashley has got portfolio 6 properties now in his own portfolio that have not come through the property app. So in terms of deals, they're doing a lot more deals than I actually physically get to know about. Now, the one thing I will say to you, Anne, is that don't be afraid to join the EPT. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to learn so much information, perhaps too much information, but more importantly, it all comes down to you, how you interpret the information, but more importantly, how you then put that into action. If you're only going to spend 1 hour a month, that's not going to be sufficient. You want to be looking to spend a minimum of a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours a week. And then if you utilize what I'm telling you, productively, those 2 hours a week are going to make you a lot of money. Okay, so Charlie says, why don't you just employ people to make the calls and then keep the whole fee? Yes, we could do that, Charlie, but ultimately we could also train people, and not only that, we could also build a larger network. We've got over 200 people in the EPT as it stands, and we want to build a much larger network. So yes, I get that. So okay, so Sajid says, can we do the day in the office remotely? If not, if you cannot make it there, and how would that work? So yes, in lockdown we had to do virtual days in the office, so that is possible. So we had to adapt according to COVID, because the members that wanted to have a day, a virtual day, and that's what we did. Okay, so Graham says, if we decide to keep a deal, do we just pay you half the finder's fee? No, Graham, if you keep the deal, I'm not greedy like that. If you keep the deal, you keep the deal. It's simple as that. I'm not chasing you for any fee for a deal that you keep. Okay, so Jeb says, can I join any time before the 10th of June or limited time available? So we are going to be closing this within this week. So when I say this, I'm going to be sending out a couple of emails between now and I think it's Thursday. Let me just quickly pull some dates up. So between now and I think Friday the 27th, and that's when we're going to be closing it off. But I would suggest that you join sooner rather than later, because that's when we close it. Okay, so Ben says, hi Arsh, how many vendor leads per week could you pass on? So Ben, what it will do is that we're very clear, is that we provide the leads and then we ask to see what activity has happened. If no activity has happened and you're asking for more leads, the leads will not be processed until you've shown us what you've done with the previous week's leads. So if you're showing me that you're active, I can keep providing you with leads consistently. We've got a lead generating system for that. So Charlie says, how do you find the leads? Is it automated? So yes, it is automated. So I've actually built a whole system that generates the leads. So it is automated, yeah. Arsh, could you send me a copy of the recording? Potentially, yes. Okay, so could you share some contacts from your group as reference, please? So just so you know, we've got a whole group. Let me quickly see if I can share this screen in here. So I've got a whole group and of EPT members, and in this EPT group, they ask all kinds of weird and wonderful questions, and it's great because, you know, in that respect. So we've got the Elite Property Tribe. So we've got a full WhatsApp group there. So let's just have a quick look. We've got lots of questions that's going on in the group there. So you can see in terms of members, we've got 187 people in the group. And then as well as that, so there's lots of members in the group that I could put you in contact with if you needed to, and more than happy to put you in contact with people like Ashley, can put you in contact with Adam, can put you in contact with all these people there that have all been previously happy to share their information. So are there any other questions? Okay, Joby says, for compliance, what are the main things that one that can do this week to be ready to move on the EPT? That's a great question, you know, Joby, because now there is one area that I would suggest that you look at. Now, when it comes to compliance, there are a couple of things that you need to do. You need to have your insurances in place. You need to be a member of like the Ombudsman. You need to be fully compliant. Now, if you're selling your deals via me and the Property Investor app, you don't necessarily need to be compliant. The reason being is because your deals will then be sold on my platform, and because my buyers are buying off my platform, they use my compliance details, not yours. Whereas if you go off and try and sell them yourself, that you will need your own compliance. Does that make sense? Right, so I think I've pretty much gone through all the questions. So Graham says, really looking forward to it. Graham, great to have you on board. Okay, so Lee says, what's to stop people looking on the app and then going direct to the estate agent to buy the property without paying the fee? So Lee, just so you know, we're a little bit more sophisticated than that. We've got lots of things in place to stop that from happening. So let's just have a quick look. I've gone through, I think I've pretty much gone all through the questions. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I've gone through all the questions, which is, I'm glad I've done that. So Mark says, hi, I'm Jack. I'm 17 years old, just starting out in property. Yeah, okay, Jack, really good to hear from you. You know, at 17 years old, you're gonna have a lot of enthusiasm, you're gonna have a lot of energy. Let's focus that energy to get you into the right place, and more importantly, more into the right mindset and saying the right things from the outset. So there we have it, guys. Hopefully I've gone through all that. Now I'm just going to leave you. Okay, sorry, here's the question. So on top of joining the EPT, how much initial capital do you need approximately? Nothing. Believe it or not, nothing. So it all depends on, you can put in as much or as little as you want. Have you got a mobile phone? Have you got a laptop? They're the two key things that I need. Have you got time to spend on the phone? They're the three key things that I need. If you wanted to, I'm not suggesting that you have to. You could potentially create a one-page like website. You could potentially create some stationery, so like some, you know, business cards, etc. Not necessary. I know a lot of the EPT members have not had to do anything. You're not required to go off and get marketing leaflets printed. You're not required to write out, you know, these laborious letters. So no, I don't think, you know, in that respect, you're not. I know lots of EPT members that have not spent a penny after the training. So, okay, so Jebby says, I'm also 23 years old. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it a lot. Good to have you online. What's the minimum deal fee, Arsh, on a 50-50 basis? So our cheapest fee on average is around 3 grand plus VAT. Our most expensive fee this year has been 40 grand plus VAT. So, sorry, I think it's 34 grand plus VAT, 17 times 2, 34 plus VAT. So, okay, so that's been our most expensive. So it really is a mix, but the average is between 3 and 5 grand. So if you don't build your own dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. And this is real apt because, you know, if you're working for someone right now, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but they have hired you to build their dream. So Charlie says, how many deals do you sell on average per week? We sell on average around 10 deals a week, which is approximately 2 a day. So that's where we're on a target to do between 500 and 600 on an average year. We're aiming to try and push to get to 1,000 deals a year. So If you've got any questions, feel free to get in contact. So you've got my contact number there, which is on the office line. If I'm on the phone, leave a message with either my PA or whoever picks up the phone, and I'll always call back. So you've got the office number there. If you want to drop me a quick email, if you've got any questions surrounding the EPT, drop me a quick email and say, hi Arsh, I'm potentially interested in joining. And if you want, we can potentially book a quick chat just to see if it's right for you, if the program's right for you, and we can go from there. But on that note, guys, is there any final questions? I think I've kind of answered all the questions there. Charlie says, how long does it take to get your fee? So basically, Charlie, the fee is pretty much split upon exchange of contracts, or if it's a rent-to-rent deal when the contract's signed. If it's a purchase deal, it's on exchange of contracts. So Anne says, how many years have you had this training program? Was it from 2020? So no, I've been doing this training program. This is almost like my 6th year. I think we did it in 2016, which was my first year, and it's been running successfully ever since. So I think I've kind of answered all the questions, Anne. So hopefully you've really enjoyed that session. Any questions, please feel free to drop me a quick email or give me a call in the office. We're open Monday to Friday, 9 AM to 5 PM. And any questions from there on, I'm more than happy to help. On that note, guys, go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. As always, I wish you all to be safe, well, and happy. And I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Take care. Good night. God bless.